Here we go again with a new show on the Tate's Take YouTube channel. How we doing? This is our second show on the channel. I hope you guys all enjoyed the first show. I got a lot of positive feedback from so many people. It made me feel really good. There's a lot of pressure that goes into that first show, just displaying what the product's going to be, what it's going to look like, the whole video element, which was a little worrisome for me, just given lack of experience in that, but I think it went really good. Good feedback. Got 5 subscribers out of it. Like one of my favorite movies, one of the greatest quotes in that movie, pump it up. Those are some rookie numbers. Come on, we got to get more than 5 subscribers, but it's a process. I'm glad to see that 5 people thought the show was good enough and wanted to tune in for future shows on the channel. So welcome. It's crazy to think, but we are one day away from August. This video is being recorded Thursday, July 31st, and what that means is we are almost so close to college football games. And Saturday, August, I believe it's the 23rd, is the first games of the year. So that is just over 3 weeks from now. Iowa State, Kansas State in Dublin. I'm super excited for that game just because that has a lot of Big 12 ramifications right off the bat. Week 1, or I guess week 0, sorry, in a foreign country. That's awesome. We've had some really good games over there. We've had some really bad games over there. Last year, first game of the year was kind of the demise of Florida State. They went over there and lost to Georgia Tech, and that was not really a shocking result given how the rest of the season went, but was a really awesome start to the year. So what I want to do today is we are going to talk transfer portal. That is all we're going to talk about today because there's so much that happened this offseason in the transfer portal. I kind of want to go through as quick as I can. Lack of, all the stats on a lot of the guys that are transferring that I find, very impactful heading into the 2025 college football season. First, as always, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, share it with a friend. Let's grow this thing. Let's get it out to the mass public before college football season actually gets started with games, because that's when you're really going to want to be a regular viewer of the show. So what I want to do today, like I said last week, 3,400 Division I FBS players transferred last season between the 24 season ending and the 25 season right now beginning. I guess it's 24-25 season, you know what I mean. But I want to go through the top 10 classes. So the top 10 teams for team transfer portal rankings are LSU 1, Texas Tech 2, Miami 3, Ole Miss 4, Oregon 5, Florida State 6, Missouri 7, Auburn 8, North Carolina 9, Kentucky 10. A lot of those don't surprise me. I'll tell you what, Kentucky really surprised me when I saw them top 10 in this, and kind of surprised why I went through the whole class that's coming in there, and it wasn't like a stud that's going there. So a little surprised by that ranking, but 10 teams, LSU, I think that makes sense. LSU brings a lot of transfer portal guys in. They rely on a lot. They bring in a stud from Florida State, Walter Payton, young, or Patrick Payton. If they brought Walter Payton in, that would be crazy. But no, Patrick Payton, really good young edge rusher from Florida State. He had a really good year at Florida State. He is a first-round draft pick, hype behind him. He's kind of their star-studded guy. And then they brought in a lot of receivers that I think will help Garrett Nussmeier this season, because you have a really good offense potential there. They bring in a guy like Nick Anderson from Oklahoma, a lot of other low-end wide receiver portal additions, but LSU deserves, I think, to be the number 1 team given, everything I looked at in their class. They just brought it all in. They brought really good players on the defensive side, really good players on the offensive side, very deserving of the 1 seed. Texas Tech, they went out and spent the bag. They are probably the team in the Big 12 with the biggest checkbooks, I guess, if you say. A lot of money down there in Dallas, and they have a lot of input from the Jones family there. Patrick Mahomes obviously is giving a lot to that school. They went out, got 2 of the best pass rushers in the transfer portal, David Bailey from Stanford, Romeo Height from Georgia Tech. Also bringing in really good offensive pieces. Micah Hudson, he's a 5-star name that a lot of people have heard of. last at Texas A&M. He's coming over to Texas Tech. And they also bring in another guy that I'm kind of excited to see how it works on offense, Quentin Joyner from USC last year. They're very deserving of that. I actually think this is a team, when we get to kind of sleeper teams, I think this is a team to keep an eye on. They have pretty good odds to win the Big 12. I think they're a team that deserves it. I think this is a team ready to go. Joey McGuire, he's on the hot seat if he doesn't come through because they spent the bag. Miami, that's always a school that's going to spend a lot of money, even before when, it wasn't, quote, legal. They were always spending a lot of money. They get Carson Beck in the portal. That's their big splash. He's a guy that obviously has a big fan base behind him. He was one of the best recruits coming out of high school. Went to Georgia, had some good times, had some bad times, had some injuries. He's got Miami fans very excited given what Cam Ward did last year. But what I will say is, Miami, you got to make the playoff, and I think that's ultimately your goal, and you have to do that, and bringing in Carson Beck goes a long way. Ole Miss might be the transfer portal king outside of Colorado year in and year out. They'll go out there, spend a lot of money. They bring in two of the better offensive linemen in the portal, a guy by the name of Patrick Kutas from Arkansas, really good interior offensive lineman. They bring in Prince Will Umanamian. I don't know how to say that. Hopefully I said that right. From Nebraska. He was one of the best edge rushers in the portal. And then they bring in two really good receivers I'm excited to watch. Harrison Walls from Penn State. He'll be excited because they'll actually throw the ball to a receiver down there in Oxford, Mississippi. And then Deshaun Stribling from Oklahoma State. Two guys that are going to be really good for that offensive scheme this year. And especially replacing a guy like Jackson Dart, there's a lot of pressure there. Oregon also has been, especially with Dan Lanning, very active in the portal. They're going after it on the offensive line. They brought in three players that are expected to start for them this season. They brought in one of the best defensive guys from the Big Ten, Dylan Tieneman. He's a guy that, if you watch Purdue, he was the white guy at the back of the defense playing safety that would come down and just crack receivers across the middle. He is very talented. That's an amazing addition for them. Also bring in Mekhi Hughes from Tulane. A lot of people might remember that name. Mekhi Hughes was one of the stud running backs at Tulane. Tulane has a very good running back, heritage. They have a couple guys in the NFL like Tajay Spears that plays for the Tennessee Titans. And this guy, Mekhi Hughes, is going to thrive, I think, at Oregon. And they also bring Malik Benson, good receiver from Florida State. Speaking of Florida State, they bring in a lot of players as well. Deuce Robinson from USC. He's kind of a big wide receiver, tight end hybrid, big name guy that they got. And they also got Squirrel White from Tennessee. He's kind of that twitch slot-like receiver that's really, really fast. Missouri brings in guys, not too big name that I've heard of. Damon Wilson from Georgia. He's an edge rusher. He's a top 10 portal player. They also bring in Kevin Coleman from Mississippi State. He's one of their better receivers last season. Auburn brings in Eric Singleton. He was a guy on Georgia Tech's really good team last year. That was the twitchy, do-it-all receiver. They put him in the backfield sometimes, played him out of Wildcat. Him and Jamal Haynes went and basically handled that whole offense with Haynes King at Georgia Tech. North Carolina brings in 41 new players. Gio Lopez from South Alabama, he's expected to be their quarterback. And then Kentucky, Kendrick Law from Alabama is the biggest name that I recognize. But like I said, they were top 10 transfer portal team rankings. So a lot of movement, okay? Lots of movement. Quarterbacks all over the place. I mean, John Mateer, Washington State to Oklahoma. Fernando Mendoza, California to Indiana. Luke Kromenhoek, Florida State to Mississippi State. Darian Mensah, Tulane to Duke. Malik Murphy, Duke to Oregon State. Connor Wiegman, Texas A&M to Houston. Miller Moss, USC to Louisville. The list goes on and on. There are so many transfer portal players, especially at the quarterback position. Bo Perbula, I missed him when I was going through my Missouri rundown. He's the Penn State guy, kind of waiting behind Drew Aller that now is at Missouri. So lots of high-end talent. What I wanted to end this episode show with is kind of intriguing prospects for me that maybe we didn't mention due to the team they're going to be on. Zachariah Branch, one of the most intriguing ones for me. He is the twitchy, fast, really good kick returner, guy at USC that Caleb Williams loved. He's at Georgia now, so you don't really think of that type of a player for Georgia, in my opinion. Usually for Georgia, you're thinking elite running backs, really good quarterback play, and an outstanding defense. But you look at a guy like Zachariah Branch, I think he's a guy that can kind of spice up, I guess, the Kirby Smart offense there in Athens, Georgia. And I'm excited to watch him. I'm excited to watch Ohio State with Max Clare, one of the best tight ends in the country last year. He is at Purdue, really good transfer tight end there. He had over almost 700 receiving yards last year, 4 touchdowns. You throw him into an Ohio State offense with Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, Brandon Inniss. He's the 4th option. I would say that is something I'm excited to see how Ohio State schemes a tight end into their offense. They're not exactly tight end you in a lot of ways. They don't really rely on that, but super excited to see that new look with a really good tight end there in Columbus. Justice Haynes, I wanted to put him in here because, I'm wearing an Ohio State shirt today. I wore an Michigan State shirt last week. You might be confused. You might think I'm just going to hate on Michigan this whole time. No, I'm going to give Michigan the due they deserve, and Justice Haynes was a great pickup for them. Michigan is unbelievable with running backs, and Justice Haynes comes from Alabama. He was in I guess, kind of a logjam there in Tuscaloosa with Jam Miller. It was him and Justice Haynes, and Haynes decided to leave, come to Michigan. I think you're going to see him be a featured back, 1,000-plus yards this season is my prediction. And then another featured back I'm super excited for, Jaden Ott. He was a name a lot of people probably heard of when Cal got off to a good start last year. He's the running back there, and he is now at Oklahoma. And I think he, with John Mateer, are going to be a really good backfield. This is a big year for Brett Venables in Norman. And I just think you look at bringing in a guy like Jaden Ott. They've had really good running back success. Joe Mixon, Samaje Perine, lots of guys that are high-end running back talents. Adrian Peterson, if you go far enough back. I just like that fit for Jaden Ott, and I think he's going to excel a lot this season playing for Oklahoma. So what this episode showed is you are not going to fully realize the full transfer portal effect in college football until the season gets going. I mean, there are so many guys I couldn't even get to. I said there were 3,400 players. I probably talked about 40 today. So there's a lot there, but what I wanted to do is kind of talk about those top teams, see what they did in terms of they went out and spent a lot of money. That has to pay off, or your boosters aren't going to spend money doing that every year. Last year, a team like Ohio State, they didn't have a high transfer portal team ranking, but they brought in Quinshon Judkins. They brought in Caleb Downs. They brought in a lot of high-end talent, Will Howard, and look how it ended up. So I don't know if it's more of the quantity approach with lots of money and lots of players, or you go get those couple guys, you spend a lot, and you keep your nucleus. That's kind of my philosophy there. So transfer portal gets me excited. I mean, I've been playing college football 26 on Xbox, and man, that's fun. There's a lot of transfer portal movement that you can find on that game, and you can play with the new teams or new guys in their new teams, and it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. So this is kind of what I wanted to do today, talk transfer portal. But like I said, we're less than 4 weeks away from our first official games and 4.5 weeks away from the big weekend opening of college football. And the next couple of weeks, we're going to give you lots of preseason picks, from over-unders to Heisman sleepers to conference winners to my playoff predictions. Lots of fun. You're going to have to stay tuned to the show. As always, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I hope I see you guys on the next show next week. Share it with some friends. Bring a lot of people in. Tell them what this is all about. And I hope to see you all next week on another show of the Tate's Take.